Title: The Flower Worth More Than a House. How tulips broke an empire. Description: in the 1600s, a single tulip bulb could cost more than a mansion in Amsterdam. How did a simple flower cause one of history's most famous economic bubbles? We'll dive into the dramatic story of tulip mania, from its dizzying heights to its devastating crash, and uncover the timeless lessons it holds for investors and economies today. 000. Imagine a time when a single flower bulb was worth more than a house. Not a rare diamond or a bar of gold, but a flower. This isn't a fairy tale. It's the incredible true story of tulip mania, one of history's most fascinating and cautionary economic tales. In the 17th century, the Dutch Republic, a global superpower, was brought to its knees by the love of a beautiful, exotic flower. How did this happen? How did rational people start trading their life, savings, their homes, and their futures for something that grows in the ground? Stick around as we unravel the story of the bubble that changed the world forever. 100. Story begins in the Dutch Golden Age. The Netherlands was a hub of trade, art, and innovation. Wealth was pouring into cities like Amsterdam, and with it came a new appetite for luxury and status. Enter the tulip. Originally from the mountains of Central Asia, tulips arrived in Europe and captivated everyone. They were unlike any flower seen before, with vibrant, intense colors and elegant shapes. Owning tulips became the ultimate status symbol, a way for the newly rich merchant class to show off their wealth and sophistication. It was the 17th century equivalent of owning a luxury sports car or a designer watch. 2 o'clock, but not all tulips were created equal. The most sought after were the Roken tulips. These had stunning, flame-like patterns and multicolored streaks. What people didn't know then was that this beautiful effect was caused by a virus, the tulip-breaking virus, which infected the bulb and made its patterns unpredictable and unique. This rarity made them incredibly desirable. Names like Semper Augustus and Viceroy became legendary. A single Semper Augustus bulb, with its crimson streaks on a white background, was considered the most beautiful and valuable flower in the world. Its price began to climb, and climb, and climb. 3 o'clock soon. The tulip market wasn't just for wealthy connoisseurs anymore. Everyone wanted in. From artisans and shopkeepers to maids and sailors, people saw a golden opportunity to get rich quick. A new form of trading emerged: wind handle, or wind trade. People started buying and selling tulip bulbs that were still in the ground, trading paper contracts that promised delivery of the bulb in the future. This was essentially the birth of futures markets. The physical flower became secondary. The real money was in the speculation, in the hope that prices would just keep going up. 4. Went into a frenzy. Prices skyrocketed daily. People sold their homes, their businesses, and their family heirlooms to invest in tulip bulbs. At the peak of the mania in the winter of 1636 to 1637, a single Viceroy bulb was reportedly traded for a package of goods that included 2 loads of wheat, 4 oxen, 8 pigs, a dozen sheep, barrels of wine and beer, tons of butter and cheese, a silver cup, and a full suit of clothes, all for 1 bulb. It was sheer madness. The value of these flowers had become completely detached from their actual, intrinsic worth. The bubble was getting bigger and bigger. 5 o'clock then, in February 1637, the bubble burst. It happened suddenly, in the city of Haarlem. At a routine bulb auction, for the first time, there were no buyers. A wave of panic swept through the market. Everyone who was holding on to those expensive paper contracts suddenly realized they were just that, paper. Everyone tried to sell at once, but nobody was buying. Prices plummeted. People who had been paper millionaires one day found themselves bankrupt the next. The contracts they held were worthless. Fortunes were wiped out overnight, and many were left with nothing but debt and a handful of no ordinary flower bulbs. 600. The aftermath was chaos. The government tried to step in, offering to honor contracts at 10% of their face value, but the damage was done. Confidence was shattered. While modern historians debate just how widespread the economic devastation was, it might not have crashed the entire Dutch economy as legend suggested. Certainly ruined many lives and served as a powerful shock to the system. The social fabric was torn as people who had trusted each other with their life savings were now pointing fingers. Mired in legal battles over broken promises and worthless bulbs, the beautiful flower had left a trail of financial ruin. So, what lessons can we draw from Tulip Mania? First, it's a classic example of a speculative bubble. This happens when the price of an asset is driven by excitement and the belief that prices will only go up, rather than by its fundamental value. We see this pattern repeated throughout history, from the South Sea bubble in the 1700s, to the dot-com boom of the late 90s, and even in parts of the modern cryptocurrency and stock markets. The psychology is the same. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, drives people to make irrational decisions. 8 o'clock second. Tulip Mania teaches us about the danger of herd mentality. When everyone around you is making money, it's incredibly difficult to resist jumping in. We assume the crowd must know something we don't, but the crowd can be wrong, and following it blindly can lead straight off a cliff. The story is a powerful reminder to always do your own research, understand the true value of what you're investing in, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. If something seems too good to be true, it almost always is. 9 o'clock. Finally, the story shows how quickly market sentiment can change. For months, confidence in the tulip market was unbreakable, but all it took was one moment of doubt for the entire house of cards to collapse. Markets are driven by human emotion, fear, and greed just as much as they are by logic and data. Understanding this psychology is key to navigating the volatile world of finance. The tulip, once a symbol of immense wealth, became a symbol of folly and financial ruin for generations. It remains a timeless reminder that what goes up, especially when it goes up that fast, can come down even faster. Las 9:45, so the next time you see a beautiful tulip, remember its wild history, a story of beauty, greed, and a powerful lesson in economics that is just as relevant today as it was 400 years ago. Thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, please hit that like button, subscribe for more dives into history, and let me know in the comments what other historical events you'd like to see covered. See you next time.